again, I had to do it on my phone. For whatever reason, my computer decided it didn't want to work. So I'm going to share it into the group now. Let's see. Let me know if this is working, if this is better. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, it didn't want to work. So let me know if this is working. Oh, sweet. Thank you so much, Amber. I'm glad you're here. Okay. Let's see. So this should be showing up. Okay, so that's shared in the group. So yeah, okay, perfect. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. I don't know what was going on, but I was trying to do it on my computer, but now it's working on my phone. So I'm just gonna set up right here. So I'm excited that you guys are here. So on the last video, I was mentioning, that I really appreciate all of you that participated in the restock. Okay, perfect. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much to those who participated in the restock and who purchased items. Those are going out. I had 9 picked up by the post office today, so I'm going to be finishing up the rest tonight, actually. And then I have, I'm going to be doing one more restock before Christmas. So as for those, I'm not sure like where it cut out on the last video, but the last day that I'm going to be guaranteeing shipping for holiday like delivery or like in time for the holiday is going to be December 10th, which is the first night of Hanukkah too. But just because like of all the things with like the post office and everything, I want to make sure that you get your items beforehand, especially if you need it for the holiday. So you can still order items after. It's just, it'll be guaranteed shipping for Christmas is going to be the 10th. So I also have some sneak peeks if you guys want to see. I just had some fabric that was delivered that'll be on the next restock. So I'll show you that. I'm very excited. I don't know if you can see, it's still like in the plastic, but it's like a black shimmer. So this is super pretty, especially if you like things that are like simple but just like a little bit of like that sparkle. That's a really cool pattern, so I'm excited about that. But yeah, so I wanted to talk to you guys, for those of you who were with me over the summer, for those of you who are new, thank you for being here. I'm super stoked. I have 3 gliders. There's Horus, Jasper, and Olive. And over the summer, both Horus, so I noticed that Jasper had a really small dental abscess. And basically, I just kind of noticed it because it looked like a little like dot. And then it looked like it was kind of oozing. And when I kind of poked at it with a Q-tip, it oozed like more. So we brought him in and they saw that he had gingival recession. So that means like the gum has receded back. And we're not really sure how long the abscess was there for. I just, you know, he's not really good about me sticking like Q-tip in his mouth for me to look at his teeth. So we got a dental and he was able to keep his teeth. They looked healthy enough that he didn't have to get them removed, especially after he was on antibiotics. So then a couple weeks later, he had, I think something got stuck in his teeth, but every time like I would kind of look at his teeth and there was blood on the Q-tip and I was like, no, he shouldn't have like gingivitis. He just had a dental, like it should be healthy. So we went back to the vet. He had another dental. And it was just something that like had gotten stuck in his teeth, so she wasn't super concerned. But every like couple weeks, I just try to check it out. And I checked it out like 2 days ago, and it looked like it was either like chewed up food or it looked to me like some pus. The way that the abscess healed, it healed kind of like a lip piercing. So it's like it'll just be like permanently open. So that's what I first noticed, was it looked like kind of like pus was coming out of that again. And I was like, And then I opened his mouth and I couldn't really tell if it was like chewed up food in there or if it was just, if it was like more like infection. So he has an appointment tomorrow. But the reason why I wanted to talk to you guys about it is because I have pet insurance actually on all of my animals, but I got pet insurance on all 3 of the gliders, and they I actually used it over the summer, and I should probably still submit it for the other 2, but Jasper's, we got almost everything reimbursed after the deductible. So I'll talk to you guys about like what all of that means. But essentially, so I have pet insurance. So I have 2 dogs, a chameleon, a leopard gecko, and 3 gliders. So I did not insure the reptiles just because I'm not 100% sure how old they are. And Georgia the chameleon came to me in kind of such a bad state that I wasn't sure whether or not she'd be covered or whether or not they'd be like willing to cover her. So the way that pet insurance works is, and there are like some differences, so you have to research which one, but we'll talk more about it. But basically, so most of the time they don't cover what are called pre-existing conditions. So what that means is if, let's say, I didn't have pet insurance and Jasper had dental issues, they would not cover dental issues ever because he had that before he had the insurance. So the goal and like the best way to do it, for sure. Yeah, it's honestly, it's like super confusing, but like once you kind of understand it, it makes more sense. So basically he is, so if your pet has, so for example, my dog Jax, so I have pet insurance on the 2 dogs and the 3 gliders. So Jax is 10 and a half. He's a Shar-Pei mix. I don't know. I rescued him about 4 years ago, and I actually had the option to get pet insurance then, and I kick myself every time, but it's fine. We're fine. But Jax, about 6 months into it, after I adopted him, he used to sleep on my bed with me, and he basically like jumped out of my bed and landed wrong. And maybe like 2 days later, he heard somebody at the door, like my dad, come home, and he got up and he let out this like super loud yell. And so we were like, what happened? Are you okay? Like, and then he started limping. So we thought maybe it was something with his leg, and I had work that night, and it like progressively got worse until, so my parents took him to the emergency vet where he was given pain meds, and they took an x-ray, and the next day pretty much he was like laid out paralyzed. And so I basically like ran into the vet with him over my shoulder, like, help, my dog's paralyzed. Like, I don't know what to do. This is before I was a vet tech. So, and yeah, so this is probably about 4 years ago. So I probably got in the field. Actually, he's the reason why I got in the field, because I was like, this is so interesting. But so basically we found out that he ruptured a disc. So like certain dogs, sometimes it's like breed specific, so like dachshunds, but it can be any breed, especially if they've had like abuse or trauma before. He actually ruptured a disc in his neck, and so he had to go in for surgery where basically they removed all of like the debris from the ruptured disc, which was compressing his spine. But it was like an $8,000 surgery. So at that point, like I was saving up for a house, and I had just like bought a new car, and but if I had insurance on that, they would have covered it. So what happens is with insurance in that moment, they would either reimburse you, or some vets accept payment from insurance directly. So at that point, I paid it, out of pocket, but from here on out, they will never cover another back injury for him. And so we actually just found out that he has pretty bad arthritis in his hips. Like, you would never know, but he has pretty bad arthritis in his hips. So we're trying to figure out whether or not they would cover that, and whether or not it's related to the stuff in his spine and like the degenerated discs. However, I have basically, I bought insurance on him pretty much like 2 months after that point. And what I do is I pay a monthly fee. And we have it on our other dog, Cody, who's a Labradoodle. So what we do is we pay a monthly fee. It's your premium. So without giving like specific numbers, Cody's is like around 100, right? So it's around like $100 a month, and you pay the premium. And what that does is you set a deductible, and you set a deductible, and then you set like your level of coverage. So because I worked in the field and I know certain things, I just went for like the highest plan. So the plan that I pay for is basically like a total wellness package, plus like an injury and critical care rider and a rehab package. So what that means is anything that hasn't happened before up until the point, there's a 30-day waiting period. So after that 30-day waiting period, most things are covered, but I have to pay my deductible first. So on Jax, I have a $500 deductible. So for basically this last summer, we found a couple mast cell tumors on him. So we had to get biopsies done, and we had to get them removed. And then we had to go back in for more surgery to get even more of that excised. So, and let me know if you guys have any questions too. But once we hit the $500 deductible on the mast cell tumors, everything after that we were reimbursed for. So I just got like, we've probably spent like a couple grand on all of that, and we just got reimbursed a few grand back. And we had a bunch of other growths on him tested, and depending on what the growth comes back as is what's covered. So like there were two different things so we had like a mast cell tumor, and then we had something that was benign, but he's had a couple of those benign ones. So every time it adds up to the $500, and after the $500, I'm covered. So, and for the mast cell tumors, I am now covered. So everything having to do with a mast cell tumor, I automatically get reimbursed for. So for my other dog, Cody, it was probably like 3 years ago. I found a growth happening. It was basically like gum recession without any tartar, which is not normal. And we found bone loss when I brought him in for the dental. And it ended up being what's called squamous cell carcinoma. So it was a cancer in what's called the rostral mandible. So it's the front, the very, very front of the jaw. And he had so basically what he had to do was we had to go in and we had to remove the front of the jaw. So he's missing about a quarter of the front piece. And then they didn't get everything under the first surgery. So then he had to have radiation after that. And now he has 6-month checkups. So Cody has a $100 premium each month, and then he has a $500 deductible. So after we hit the $500, which was covered in the original biopsy, they covered 90% of all his cancer treatments, surgeries, everything after that. So that was like 15 grand worth of treatments that my vet at the time just happened to accept payments directly from insurance. So that was like over 15 grand worth of treatments that they now just cover, and that they automatically just paid to our vet. And they're still covering it. So every 6 months, he goes back into the oncologist, and, he goes into the oncologist, gets it checked, gets chest x-rays and blood work, and they now, and they cover that. And they still will for the rest of his life, 90% of it. So we probably paid like 10%. So we probably paid like $1,500, $2,000 total out of pocket for Cody. and he was then treated. So the insurance that I use, so that's for my dogs. So there's 2 brands that I've recommended when I worked in the clinics. And so for my exotic pets, I use what's called Nationwide. I use their exotic pet insurance. So they have a few different plans. I get the total wellness, and it covers wellness exams along with like wellness blood work, and I believe so. You have to check with your plan, and when you talk to them, it's like very specific, but they cover a lot, and they cover exams as well as rechecks and things like that. So with Jasper now, so for my gliders, I have a $100 deductible. So when I had to bring Jasper in the first time on emergency for his teeth, I hit that $100 deductible because it was on emergency. So it was already a $100 wellness or $100 exam. So that automatically hit it. So now everything after having to do with the teeth condition is covered, and they reimburse me for it. So like my exam for him tomorrow will be covered. So he had a CT scan, and he had dentals, and he's had all of that. And all of that was reimbursed and covered under the total wellness. So I have like the most expensive plan because I'm just like, you know what, like you never know what's gonna happen. So when you sign up, they ask like, have you had any like emergencies? Have you had any like major illnesses, things like that? And you have to be like truthful and sign a whole thing. So for the gliders, and it depends on age too, so that's how they quote it. So the younger they are, the better, but you should still just try no matter how old your gliders are. But like I'm getting a new glider very soon who's like 12 weeks out of pocket, so he's gonna get insurance too. So basically everything will be covered. So I'm gonna put it in the comments. So this is Nationwide. It's a really comprehensive policy, and I like it. And I feel really confident with it, and I like the fact that they've like so far they've been so easy to work with, and they've been so they've been just like so like easy. Like pretty much I have an online account, and I basically just like take a screenshot of the invoice and I upload it as like a claim, and then it takes a few days to a few weeks to process based on like whether or not you filed claims before, is this a new condition, things like that. So with Nationwide, what I found is I have to get my own medical records and then send it to them, which is fine, but you just have to make sure that you get everybody's medical records. And then so this is who I use. And then let me know if you guys have any questions about this. And then for my dogs, I use a different company. It's called Trupanion. So this is Trupanion's link. Now Trupanion, I don't believe they have exotics yet. I was trying to look for it and I couldn't find it. But I just knew that I really liked Nationwide's plan. The only thing is Trupanion doesn't cover wellness exam or like any exams, unless it is related specifically to an illness that they have already covered and you've already paid your deductible for. So, which is kind of confusing, but like Cody gets his cancer exams covered, I believe, because it is already something that we've paid the deductible for and they have already like covered. So, and it's specifically because of an illness that they covered, but am I there? I know I cut out for a little bit. Am I there? Let me know. But so the only thing that I understand is like the difference is like Trupanion, it's a $500 deductible, and they're covered for life for that condition. So like Jax is covered for life for mast cell tumors. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Jax is covered for life for mast cell tumors, and Cody is covered for life for squamous cell carcinoma. Okay, perfect. Versus Nationwide, it's for the year. So it's a lower deductible, but it's for less time. So I believe I can't remember. I think it's a year from when it was diagnosed, but I'm not sure if it's that or the calendar year. But it's $100, like, for the gliders, and then for the year, and then you have to pay $100 again as another deductible for the next year, even though it's the same condition. But I posted both of those in the comments. So, USAA also does pet insurance. So if you happen to have USAA, I will post that one as well. I don't know much about their insurance, but I have USAA for my car insurance, and they've been super easy, and I really like them. So I believe it's just for dogs and cats, but I will post the link for that too. Just again, I don't know anything about USAA's pet insurance or what they cover. The most comprehensive coverage that I could find was both Nationwide and Trupanion. So before you do it, definitely look into it and research. However, that is why I will always use it. So the thing is, like, if you think about it, glider emergencies can run you a few $100 to a few $1,000 depending what's going on. If they need CT scans, especially for teeth issues, if they have dental abscesses and infections, a lot of times they want to check in the root and in the mandibular area to see if the infection has compromised, like, jaw strength and quality. But a lot of times x-rays can't, because they're so tiny, x-rays can't really show you what, like, a CT scan can, if that makes sense. Like, an x-ray shows really well on a dog, but a dog's like twice the size. No, a dog's like 15 times the size of a glider. But a CT scan, depending on your exotic vet and whether or not they have it, is going to run you like, I think it ran us like $500 or something like that. So having this in place where you're going to get reimbursed really helps with, like, when you're trying to establish, like, okay, what your budget is, or whether or not, like, how far to go. If you know that you're gonna get like 90% of it covered, it makes that decision so much easier. Or like, I've heard people kind of make the argument of like, oh, well, if you put the premium amount in, I pay about $30 a glider, just so I don't know if that's a thing. And again, like, I don't know if it's like per person or it's more like the quote. It depends on the age and like other illnesses. So my gliders were all super healthy and had never had any other illnesses before I got insurance on them. And the thing with Nationwide is there's a 2-week basically waiting period. So it was kind of funny. I got insurance. I was like sitting there one day and I was like looking on Facebook and I saw somebody like ask about it in Guardians, and I was like, I need to do that. Like, I'm gonna do that right now. So it was like Sunday afternoon and I called and I got them on it. And then I waited like the 2-week waiting period. And like 3 days after like the 2-week waiting period, I noticed Jasper's abscess. And I was like, wow, buddy, like, you fiscally conservative conscious man, you, like, so keep that in mind. Depending on your plan, they're going to have basically a, you're going to have a waiting period and you have to abide by that waiting period. So anything that happens within that waiting period becomes then, a pre-existing condition. So if he had not been that fiscally conservative man and, you know, it had happened like within that 2-week waiting period, none of his dental issues would be covered. So that's also something to think about. So it's funny, like, some of my friends have been like, do you get paid? No, I don't get paid by the insurance company. I just really care. So, it's something to, you know, teeth issues, skin issues, injuries, dominance wounds, all kinds of things. So again, I have the total wellness, or the total pet wellness. Let me look it up. Hold on. Let me see what my plan is called that I have through Nationwide, so that I can tell you accurately. Hold on. Let's see. We'll go into little, so let's see. And then they also give discounts too. So if you have like, I know at the 4th animal that you put on there, you get even more of a discount. So like each animal that you put on there, you get like a little bit of money off because they want you to put multiple pets on there. And I believe like at the 4th one, you get like a bigger discount. I will report on that in a few weeks. But like as far as right now, so you get so that's the thing too, is you get like a little bit. Okay, so I have the whole pet with wellness, percent of invoice plan A coverage. So I will put, let's see. I believe this is what the plan that I have covers. So that way you can read this. Let's see. I'm trying to see if it's answers. We list your animal. Okay, yeah. So basically, what they don't cover in the plan that I have is diagnosis or treatment of any pre-existing condition, procedures performed prior to the effective date of this policy. Yes, Nationwide does. Trupanion doesn't cover exams at all, which is frustrating. But that's the Trupanion does not cover exams. This one does. So they have, when they've reimbursed me in the past, they have covered 90% of everything. I've only been responsible for 10%. The only thing I think that they don't cover too is like waste fees and like fees like that, like surgical fee. They don't, okay, so they don't cover any condition identified as the additional excluded condition on the declarations page on your policy, and then that'll be in your policy too, so that it may differ. I'm not really sure. I've never like worked in the insurance industry to know like what under the declarations policy. So diagnosis or treatment of cruciate ligament or meniscal damage or rupture that occurs during the first 12 calendar months that your pet is insured by us. Hi love, thanks for being here. So, you must maintain continuous coverage on your pet with us in order to avoid a 12-month waiting period. So a thing about insurance too is you just can't like get covered for like a major thing and then leave, because first of all, I don't think they'll like let you go back, and they won't cover certain things unless you've like been paying. So like at this point, they have paid me more than I've paid them for Jasper, if that makes sense. So like they're gonna like charge me if I decide like, you know what, like I'm done, bye, which I would never do, but I'm just saying like you can't really do that. So because like they have paid me at this point more than I have given to them in my premium fees. So they don't cover any behavioral training, behavioral therapy, or behavioral treatment that is not performed by a licensed veterinarian who has physically examined your pet, or pet obedience training, regardless of who performs it. Any service or procedure used to prevent, preserve, or improve general nutrition or health, even if prescribed by a veterinarian. So oh, that's okay. Jasper is a glider. So I have 3 gliders. I have Olive, Jasper, and Horace. I always say their names like Horace, Jasper, and Olive, so I can't like say it in different orders, or I just get confused who they are. Yeah, Jasper is a sugar glider. He's a standard gray. He's my chunky boy. But yeah, he's had some like dental issues for the last like few months. Actually since like June. So, we've been frequent flyers at the vet with him. We bring cookies, so I try, I'm always like, hey, and I always bring cookies, so we try to be nice. But yeah, so yeah, he's a glider. I know I talked about everybody, so it's a little confusing too. I'm confused about who I'm talking about. But so on Trupanion versus like Nationwide. So Nationwide does not cover things like nutritional supplements, acupuncture, chiropractic. But Trupanion does if you have that complimentary care rider. And they'll talk to you about that. You'll talk to a representative. I think it's best just to talk to a representative like while you're getting a quote. Just to like make sure that you understand like what you're paying for and what you sign up for. So, and let's see, they don't pay for boarding or like cage items. They don't pay for any food or treats other than prescription vet food for like a specific condition. And then, let's see, fees or expenses not directly related to veterinary services like waste disposal, record access copying, any license or certification, compliance with any government rule or regulation. And they also don't cover like pet services and supplies not prescribed by your vet to prevent, diagnose, or treat your pet's condition. Cosmetic procedures, experimental investigational procedures, membership fees, and then diagnosis, treatment, or procedures associated with breeding. So like pre-mating examinations, procedures related to breeding, things like that. Or surgeries or procedures not associated with an eligible condition. So like they don't cover like dew claw removal, ear cropping, or like declawing of cats, things like that. So that's mostly, everything else is pretty much covered under that wellness plan. So chronic conditions, they cover any illness, injury of your pet that your pet contracts or incurs. They cover that, including veterinary expenses. Covered veterinary expenses means expenses for reasonable, necessary veterinary expenses that you are obligated to pay for services. Veterinary expenses for wellness or preventative coverage that are not covered unless you selected the optional wellness and preventative coverage as reflected by your declarations page. Your declarations page. So like when you talk to your representative, if you want your wellness exams covered along with like illnesses and injuries, like talk to them about that and tell them that you want like that. Like I basically told them like I want everything. Like I just want it. So everything, you know, within like their standards is now covered. So I was like I think they also they don't cover like cases of like neglect or like grave injury that you cause. Yeah, intentionally by you or any resident of your household. So, but we're not going to do that here. But I just want to mention that too. But other than that, so I really like this plan. It's a really comprehensive plan. It has covered all their medications. It's covered the procedures and everything like that. So, they have already saved me. They've already reimbursed me like over $1,000 in just Jasper alone since June. So the link is in the link is in the comments. I'm gonna see if I can pin it. Hold on, I didn't pin it at first. I don't know if it's gonna let me. I'm gonna post it again and just see if I can pin it. So again, this is, and then, so to sign up for this, I basically called, and I just like, there's just a number right on the front. They also do cats and dogs too. So if this is something where you want to do that, I was actually going to ask. I don't know offhand. I believe so because it's like actively preventing, but I don't know. So let me see. Let me look in my coverage. Trying to see if it's saying prevention or preventative coverage, but there are no underlying symptoms. So they do cover, they may cover preventative gastropexy, retinoplexy, pre-vaccination, pain medication. I don't know. It doesn't, let's see. Wellness means only the following. Wellness veterinary exams, blood tests, radiographs, heartworm tests, FELV, FIV screenings, urinalysis, fecals, deworming, genetic certification. Oh, so it looks like under the wellness, it might. According to this, it looks like if you get the wellness plan, thank you, Natasha, for posting that. So yeah, Amber, these are only covered under wellness if they are performed as part of a wellness or preventative protocol and not associated with the medical condition. So, but I believe it depends on which plan you pick. So just, if that's something you're interested in, make sure you understand like which plan you're getting and which plan you're signing up for, and like what will be covered. And you can ask the representative all of these questions, like, okay, so like this plan. So I posted the website again as well, just so that is there. But yeah, you can, and then it took I think it took like a week or like a few days for the plan to like, basically the underwriter has to look at like my answers to the questions and like their medical records and decide like whether or not they can. Yeah, of course. I'm so glad it was helpful. So the underwriter has to like look into everything first before they just like grant you pet insurance. Now Trupanion was different. Trupanion was pretty much like, oh, thank you, Natasha. Yeah, it depends too. So the prices are different between each glider and like each pet too, just based on like health status, age, different things like that, prior illnesses, things like that. So just know that going in, it won't be the same for all of us. Just because like I got mine, so mine are like 4 and 3, and I think, I don't know, I always forget. I rescued mine, so I don't know like their specific history, but because mine are on the younger side, they're a little bit less. Like as pets get older, they become more prone to illnesses, so they become a little bit more expensive to insure, which is also why too, especially if you have young gliders, like do it. And do it while they're young, especially, or as soon as you get them, like before any like thing has a chance to happen. But I'm always like, learn from my mistakes. Like I would be $8,000 richer if I had known this. So, I always just want to make sure that like I give as much information on this as I can. But yeah, just know that the price may differ depending on your gliders and your situation and your plan that you get. So just keep that in mind as well. But they do offer discounts, especially once your 4th pet is insured with Nationwide. You start getting like an even bigger discount. Like you already get, I think, a 5% multi-pet discount on each pet, but at the 4th one, I think it becomes a 10% discount. I'm not totally sure, but that is, I hope that helps. Trupanion, I don't believe does exotics, but if that's something where you were looking into, like, if you like the sound of that plan, Nationwide also has, so you can put like your cats, your dogs, your fish, and I don't know if they do fish, but they do reptiles and all those things too. So if you wanted to put like all of your pets on that same Nationwide plan, you can. I just happen to have Trupanion before, and at this point, like, my dogs have had such a good experience on Trupanion that I'm not going to take them off and put them on a new plan. Plus, it's like, it gets really complicated. So, but definitely look into it. You feel free to message me if you have any questions. I was going to show you guys a sneak peek too. I'm working on the subscription box items, and I just think they're super cute. So I will show you. This is one of the toys that, so this is going in the, the Ultimate box and the Fantasy Enclosure box. That one's currently sold out, but I do still have more of the Ultimate Indulgence box. But this is just the beginning of one of the toys. So I'm really excited. I think they're turning out super cute. This next month is going to be the holidays coming up. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to like post like either on my group page or in the on the Morgans and Friends page, or like, hey, I got insurance, like, woo! But yeah, it's definitely something that has saved my butt so many times. Like even just since June, like Jax has had, I think he's had like 4 operations now in different biopsies, and I've gotten at least some money back for every single one of them. And I just got like a couple grand back from this most recent procedure. So it definitely adds up, you know, especially over the course of their life. It's definitely something where from here on out he'll be covered. The same thing with my gliders. The same thing, you know, it's tough and it's like stressful, and it kind of sucks that he keeps having issues with his teeth, but cost is not something that I'm worried about with it, and that's a huge relief. Like, I'm not panicking about cost because it's like, okay, like, it's covered, I'll get it back, you know. And they're really quick about it. You can do direct deposit. I literally wake up and I have money in my account and I'm like, oh, yay. That's awesome. You know, I forget sometimes. So you know, emergencies, things like that, you know, costs can be kind of prohibitive with that. And even if you have, like, I always am a big proponent too of have a savings account for veterinary bills. But the thing is, like, even if from the day Cody was born, I put his like premium cost, if I put every month of his life, I put the premium cost in his in like a savings account for him, by the time that he had cancer at 5 years old, there would have only been $6,000 in there. So the fact that I would have still had to worry about another $9,000 that I didn't because I had insurance for him was huge. So yeah, I hope my experiences help. Thank you guys so much for being here today. This will be posted on the Morgans and Friends page, so you can watch it as many times as you need. The links are in the comments. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you guys for being here. I'll be on next week as well. And yeah, but all right. Thank you guys.